Today's
Troubled
news.
bank buyouts.
When people lose confidence in a bank, deposits go out the door very quickly.
China's president in Russia,
Likely to be as much about war as peace.
bracing for a possible Trump indictment.
The legal strategy is going to be combative.
Good morning, I'm Steve Kathan with the CBS World News Roundup. There's been more maneuvering in the banking world as officials try to shore up confidence. Overseas, UBS has bought troubled Credit Suisse for just over $3 billion. And here in the U.S., Signature Bank, that failed a week ago, has been bought for $2.7 billion by New York Community Bank. CBS's Ed O'Keefe on the calls for tougher oversight.
Massachusetts Democratic Senator Elizabeth Warren is calling out the Federal Reserve Chairman and a regional body charged with bank oversight.
We need accountability for our regulators who clearly fell down on the job, and that starts with Jerome Powell.
And the Republican chair of the House Financial Services Committee says all options should be on the table to prevent a further crisis.
We need to get to the bottom of whether or not this is a supervisory problem, a regulatory problem, a bank mismanagement problem.
It comes as the Wall Street Journal reports the Federal Reserve had been looking into allegedly risky practices at Silicon Valley Bank going back to 2019. And the New York Times reports a Fed review of SVB in 2021 flagged that the firm was doing a bad job of ensuring that it would have enough easy-to-tap cash on hand.
China's President Xi is now in Moscow. An airport ceremony ahead of his meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin. CBS's Ramy Inocencio.
Xi Jinping's arrival to Moscow is a strong show of solidarity for Vladimir Putin, and this is something that the Kremlin will no doubt exploit, but it's also the optics of Xi shaking hands with Putin. And President Xi's visit is expected to run through Wednesday. After that, he's expected to speak with Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky. Zelensky has told Beijing to not supply any weapons whatsoever to Russia.
The visit comes after the International Criminal Court issued an arrest warrant for Putin for alleged war crimes. Putin went inside Ukraine to Mariupol over the weekend. That's the war-torn city Russian forces now control. Former President Trump claimed on social media that he'll be arrested tomorrow, but there's no firm evidence that will happen, and he called on his supporters to protest to, quote, take our nation back. The Manhattan District Attorney's Office said it will not tolerate attempts to intimidate or threaten the rule of law. CBS's Robert Costa with the latest on the hush money case.
CBS News has learned that the grand jury may hear today from an additional witness, Bob Costello, a former legal advisor to Michael Cohen, a key witness in this investigation. We're told that Mr. Costello might question the credibility of Mr. Cohen, and this all comes after the fallout over the weekend from former President Trump's comments.
House Speaker Kevin McCarthy is among the Republicans who say the investigation into Trump is all about politics.
It doesn't matter if this was President Trump or if this was a Democrat. There should be equal justice in America. And stop going after people because you have political differences.
An overnight curfew ended a few hours ago in Miami Beach. It was imposed by Mayor Dan Gelber after two fatal shootings and rowdy spring break crowds.
The volume of people in our city, the unruly nature of too many, and the presence of guns has created a peril that cannot go unchecked, especially in the evening.
The curfew will likely be reimposed starting Thursday night into next weekend. The French National Assembly votes today on no confidence motions, just days after the Macron government pushed through a pension plan that raises the retirement age 2 years to 64. 4 minutes after the hour.
Well, that's today's news. Today's news. I didn't hear any good news, did you? I didn't think so. I guess it's all about perspective. The glass is half full. Well, as always, I want to thank you again for coming along with me on these Dash Cam News adventures. You know the drill. Peace, love, and all that hippie jazz. Bye-bye, everybody.